Hello everybody, SlimKirby here, and welcome to Mario Party 6 weekend. I know it's been a very long time. I would like to apologize for all the delays that have happened. I had a family vacation about a week ago that lasted 2 weeks, and when I got back from the vacation, I had a lot of tax stuff I had to take care of and many other things. So all of that stuff kind of prevented me from getting to working on this, so I do apologize for that. I would also like to give an apology to Chugga Conroy and his fan base for the joke that I made in the Mario Party 5 videos. I didn't mean any offense to Emil or his fans by any means. I was mainly going for kind of a joke against fanboys in general, which are, you know, normally a bad thing. But a lot of people took it like I was insulting Chugga and his fans, which I definitely was not. I have a lot of respect for Chugga Conroy and his fan base, so I just wanted to get that out there that I did not mean any harm by that. The only reason that joke was in the video is just because I didn't think it was going to be harmful, since I did mean no harm by it. But I can understand that it was open for interpretation, and I do apologize for that. And just want to get those things out in the open before this weekend actually started.
Jeez, someone has taken a sweet-ass time in getting to this list.
Hey, come on now. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to say. Jeez. Who are you anyway?
I'm your darker side. I'm here to be the lousy gimmick for this set of videos.
By darker, does that mean you're more evil than I am? Or by darker, do you mean that you're more whiny, depressed, and negative about everything?
A little from column A, a little from column B, you jackass.
Well, I can already tell this is going to be pleasant. My god. Couldn't I just bring Taran back? At least with him I can kind of tease him a little. With you, this looks like I'm kind of crazy talking to myself.
No, because this is all you could come up with to parallel the Mario Party 6 day and night gimmick, you idiot.
At the end of 2004, it was about time for yet another Mario Party game. Mario Party 5 had met with plenty of mixed reviews and criticisms of where the series was going, many of which stated that the series was starting to be overmilked and oversaturated. What was Hudson Soft's response to these complaints? Yes, we are over-milking it, so let's make another one. And sure enough, 1 year after Mario Party 5, we were graced with Mario Party 6. Aside from being another variation of the classic Mario Party series, this game introduced some interesting things. The gimmick this time around was a day and night system which alternated every few turns and affected certain events in minigames based on what time of day it was. It also introduced new board objectives, which we'll get into more tomorrow when we start talking about the boards. And finally, it actually came packaged with a very unique GameCube accessory that only worked with this game and Mario Party 7, the Nintendo GameCube mic. It actually worked with two other GameCube games as well, Odama and Karaoke Revolution Party. This accessory didn't really impact much and could be disabled to just save you the trouble of actually playing with it, but at least it was something? I don't know, as much of a Mario Party fan I am, even I was starting to see that Hudson Soft was starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel in trying to make this game, as well as Mario Party 7, and for the most part, it shows. But how well does it emulate the two most important features of the Mario Party games? We're about to find out, starting with the minigames. It's time for the top 10 worst minigames list. Number 10, Ray of Fright. One thing I do have to give credit to Mario Party 6 for, there aren't very many games that are bad until you get to the very bottom of this list. Ray of Fright is a good example of a game that is actually a pretty cool concept, but due to a very small timing window and reaction window, it makes it hard to enjoy a game that would honestly be pretty fun otherwise. In this one, the single player fires a laser that will ricochet and bounce off the walls, trying to destroy the team of 3. The team of 3's goal is pretty obvious, move around and try to avoid the laser. However, what makes this difficult is the arena itself is pretty small, the laser is pretty wide, and it has just enough speed to catch you if you aren't in the most advantageous position. In other words, this could have been a lot better if it was retooled just a small bit. Number 9, Snow World. I kinda prefer button mashing when it's mashing or pressing a single button a multitude of times, but when you start having to mash a series or sequence of buttons, it starts to become a bit too tedious. In this game, you and your friends are snowboarding, and one at a time you must take turns jumping off a ramp and doing tricks. The player that gets the most points, which are determined by how many tricks you do, will be the winner. The key on screen shows you what buttons you need to press, and it's generally a linear sequence between the B, A, X, and Y buttons. Maybe not in that specific order, but you get the idea. so it becomes less about mashing the buttons, but more about sliding your finger around trying to hit the buttons in a clockwise motion. What makes this tricky is that if you miss just one button, you are more than likely not going to win this game, because the amount of time you need to get back on track will generally be enough to separate yourself from first place. Honestly, at this point, if snowboarding was going to be a thing, I would have much preferred a downhill slope race of some kind instead of what they offered here. Number 8. Something's Amiss. Mario Party 4 first featured a mechanic I wasn't too thrilled with, and Mario Party 6 continues it proudly, to my dismay. That mechanic is measuring skill based on a controller's rumble feature. In this game, you and your dueling opponent are in a misty area looking for gems, and when you are walking around, whenever the rumble goes off, you are near a gem and must press the A button to pick it up. You need 3 gems to win, so even if you miss the first one, or are you a bit too slow to the punch, you do have some time to recover. While I do think this is better than the implementation used in Mario Party 5's Rumble Fumble, it's still not a game I would want to get very much in regulation, as honestly just not that great of a duel minigame in my opinion. Number 7. Treasure Trawlers. And once again, like clockwork, another game that features the built-in Rumble Pack. There isn't a lot to say about this game. It's a 4-player game where you are searching for treasure in the water, and when you are near treasure, the rumbling will start and you must press the A button to drop your crane into the water and pick it up. What makes this game a bit more tedious than Something Is Amiss is the fact that I find it's a little harder to pick up the treasure, because you need to align yourself in the best position and there are hidden chests that are worth more than 1 point. In a game where you can't see where the chests are or what they look like, giving a luck-based element like that where multiple points can be enough to steal a victory, that makes me a sad panda.
I'd like to once again stress that none of these games are necessarily that bad. It's just that we've seen a lot of these games a million times before, but because there's nothing that's special or extraordinary about them, we kind of see the negatives more than we see the positives. And as a result, they just feel kind of meh or boring.
Yeah, boring. Like you and your Let's Plays.
You know, I'm starting to think that my dark side is a passive-aggressive dick.
Number 6. Blooper Scooper. Did this game seriously have to be a pun on the name Pooper Scooper? Well, the name is not what puts this game on this list. In this game, you must swim against the current in order to escape the giant blooper in the middle who is trying to grab you with his arms, and just in general trying to give you a hard time. The swimming itself is pretty basic and easy to do, but the obstacles you need to avoid are relentless, including a blooper's arms. It's hard to swerve to avoid them, and just one hit could be enough to bring you into the blooper's clutches, because sometimes you can get stuck on the arm, and by the time you regain control of yourself, it's already too late. Maybe it's better than Cheep Cheep Sweep from Mario Party 3, another game where you try to escape the deadly range of a sea creature, but it's still a game that's just a bit too awkward to play in my opinion. Number 5. Booed Off the Stage. I do like the name of this game, but that's as far as my love for this one goes. In this duel game, you must avoid capture by the pink Big Boos, and to be the last man standing. However, when I say big, I mean big, and when I say boos, I mean boos, plural. You have several big boos flying across the screen, and they move at a decent fast speed, so you only have a small amount of time to react before they capture you. The worst part of this game is the fact that there are impediments that block your path while moving through this course, so in some cases, if you are in the absolute wrong place at the wrong time, you'll be taken away in a moment's notice. That's all I really need to say about this one. Just not really fun for me. Number 4. Freeze Frame. This one might surprise some people, but there is just something about this game that doesn't sit well with me, which is why it's so low on this list. In this game, you must compete with your other 3 opponents and try to take a picture of the most Shy Guys or Goombas, depending on whether or not it's day or night. You only have one shot at taking a picture and very little time to do it, and that is mainly my issue with this one. I think if you have such a small timing window, you should at least have multiple opportunities where you can stop when you think you do have a good amount, but with only one shot, it almost opens up the gate for a luck-based winner. I don't know, you guys might think I'm being too picky with this one, but I've never really enjoyed this one, and that's that. Number 3, Trapeze Artist. I feel like I could have combined this one with Freeze Frame because it's essentially the same idea and concept. The only thing that sets this one apart is that you have to account for a strict timing window, and you have to read the AI patterns of some lowly horde monsters. In this game, you must try and trap the most Goombas in your cage, once again only getting one shot and getting a small amount of time in the process. If you manage to grab a gold Goomba, you get some bonus points, but because of that, there are some cases where someone can get incredibly lucky and have multiple gold Goombas in their cage range, and automatically steal the win from you. The thing I dislike most about this one, though, is that when you drop the cage, there is a small second delay, which is not as instantaneous as the camera in freeze frame. In other words, this game is freeze frame with a 1 second delay. Number 2, Fruit Cocktail. I'm actually surprised that it took this long to get to a mic minigame, which is why I haven't even addressed this yet. So because of the microphone accessory introduced in Mario Party 6, there are a few mic minigames you can get whenever you activate a 1 vs 3 minigame. In these games, the single player uses the mic while the team of 3 tries to outmaneuver the vocalist. With the mic, you speak different words into the mic while holding it down the button, and based on the words you say, different things will happen. In the case of Fruit Cocktail, the single player says the name of a fruit, and the team of 3 must move to a space that includes that fruit, otherwise they will drop into the endless abyss below. Now, I can't stress this enough, the mic minigames themselves are not that bad, however by no means are they that spectacular either. As a peripheral, the mic inclusion was lazy and didn't really add much to the experience. I don't think it should have added anything either, but I'm just calling it how it is. The reason this game is the second worst minigame in my eyes is just because of how difficult it can be for the team of 3. The platforms aren't terribly big, and you have such a small timing window in trying to find the fruit you need to get onto. Also, because of how the mic works and functions, there are times where the single player could just say some nonsense and the censor could just assume he or she said something else, which only screws over the team of 3. Honestly, this is why I'm kinda glad the mic wasn't utilized in any games past Mario Party 7, with the exception of the DS games, but that's a completely different story. And number 1, we once again have a tie between Strawberry Shortfuse, Trick or Treat, and Pitifall. Once again, we have a tie for first. I really hate doing it for these lists, but there's not much I can do to justify in picking the worst minigame. All this is leaving your fate completely in luck's hands, and I seriously hate that. The only thing I hate more than a luck-based minigame is having multiple luck-based minigames, sometimes in the same freaking category. Strawberry Shortfuse is a battle game, much like Stacked Deck in Mario Party 3, where you do have a safety catch, but it's not like you will know where the safety catches are. Trick or Treat and Pitifall are luck-based duel games where, you guessed it, you pick something and someone randomly wins. If I absolutely had to give an award for the worst minigame in Mario Party 6, it would probably be Pitifall just because it is the same exact minigame as the worst minigame in Mario Party 5, Get a Rope. Seriously, inexcusable Hudson Soft. Stop with these luck-based minigames.
Ugh, I really freaking hate luck-based minigames. Please tell me you at least feel the same way about them.
Me? Luck-based minigames? They cause misfortune to those who don't deserve it. And they cause chaos when there was no chaos before. I frickin' love them.
Okay, remind me never to play Mario Party with you.
And that's it for the worst list. Join me in a small bit for the top 10 minigames in Mario Party 6. Hopefully they will be better than this group. Here's a hint. They are!